Nature talks, nature walks. Walking, talking. Rain, storming. Land, roving. People, storming. Oh my gosh! Oh, so pretty. So today, on my YouTube, I'm gonna talk about the challenges that I am facing currently about changing genres from single songwriter, folk lyricist to more of like a simplified, not as metaphorical, simplings. And boy, let me tell you, it's really been a good challenge. And I have no idea really where to start, and I'm just starting now, so. What I've been learning the past couple of months is that honestly, it's all about Doi, big time Doi the chorus. That's not how I roll. I don't write like that. I write with like an entire storyline, sometimes some backstory, sometimes some really strange visuals, and the chorus doesn't just cut off and then jump into something simple. It's just an extension of the story. So what I'm realizing is I need to switch that up a little bit. I need to separate the hook from the verses. I need to simplify the verses and then really ultra simplify the hook while still getting the point across, still getting a full circle story. And ultimately, it's gonna make me so much better of a songwriter, and I know this. Of course it will. Duh. Any practice is good practice. But I feel like I'm starting from scratch with 10,000 hours because folk is a miracle worker. All you have to do is find some simple chords and then tell a complicated story with all these twists and turns of metaphors and visuals. And I love doing that. Now I have to find a way to make that work, like, try to make that work for the radio. The radio doesn't like that. It doesn't like me talking about my feelings in the form of mold coating over walls, because that's a thing. I have that in one of my songs. A metaphor for things just sitting until they rot, basically, or getting eaten alive. And that's dark, but it's so cool. And I love the visual. The radio's not gonna be like, what are you talking about with the mold? I'm gonna be like, it's a metaphor for, you know how sometimes when we're just so stagnant and, you know, like, just we get ruined. We lose our value because blah, blah, blah. They're gonna be like, no, honey. Another thing that I noticed with simplifying is that with a hook, really what you have to do is make it bulletproof, memorable. So, in other words, I've got to repeat pretty much the same like 2 words for like 3 measures in a catchy way. And maybe during like the 3rd measure, say the same 3 things, repeat the same 3 things, but like with a different cadence. And so that people are like, ooh, that's unique and really genius. Not that I'm not saying it's genius. Of course, I think that writing for the radio is genius. It does lack in a bit of flavor. Ooh. Hello. The thing that I'm enjoying about it so very much is that it's rewiring my brain to think about how to write songs in such a different way. And I adore the challenge, regardless of if it feels really, really tough or not, especially now that the band Aeromad that I'm a part of, that band, our first album's pretty much almost recorded. So now all we have to do is work on releasing the singles, getting each single out, promoting it, and then dropping that album. So that means that everything that we write from here on forward gets to be brand new stuff, which is so exciting. Because this last album was really interesting, where the band had instrumental tracks and they didn't have any vocals or any lyrics or melody over top. So I got to ride over top of those tracks, which was an amazing challenge. And then they would help me write all the instrumental parts for all the folk songs that I already had written. And that was a beautiful challenge. Now we get to work together from building songs from the ground up. So that means they're not coming with anything already. And we get to create from the bottom. But it's like looking at a white canvas, right? You don't have any idea sometimes where to start. Where to start is so intimidating. So what we've been doing is, usually I'll come up with the melody, and then the lead guitarist Ulysses and I, we'll sit down and we'll kind of figure out just a bass drum line that we want to start off with. And then we'll talk about the temperature of the song, what direction that we want it to go, what kind of genre that we want it to follow. Is it going to be like kind of a funk dance kind of a thing? Are we going for dubstep? I mean, we have this whole entire world of stuff we could do, but it's like so much stuff. Where do you even start? One of the challenges that I'm dealing with as a songwriter is just finding, I call them trigger words, which are words that are technically trending. It's almost like writing a grant. You have to pick the words that everybody is just going for right now, like vibing with. There are certain words that I know I can implement into a song. And just by saying that, just by putting that in a line, it's going to cause a reaction. And it's going to cause people to attach themselves to that song for that moment. It's also going to be nostalgic afterwards. And so it's a really helpful tool for me. But I'm not that hip. I'm trying, but it's like, how do you even find the trendy word? You have to listen to a bunch of teenagers all the time. Oh my gosh. I don't want to do that. Oh, it is beautiful out here. Even if it's like 100 degrees in the shade, honey, it is just fine. Oh, look at this rubble. Oh, gorgeous. Gorgeous. You look good. So the truth is I have a lot to learn still. Just started working on revising songwriting, and I have a lot of research to do, because what I find is when I listen to like a radio ready song, I'm like, oh, that's so simple, I could do that. And then when I try and do it, I'm like, but I do believe you can make a melody cool just if you just keep at it. I'll keep you posted. It's so nice to be outside. If you get a chance, be outside, clear your brain, be in the fresh air, breathe in those pollens, get a couple good sneezes going in, because that's what I've been doing every morning. It's about 20 sneezes, and I am happy as a clam in the morning. See you next week. How are you? Would you like to be best friends? I love you. Don't freak out just 'cause I love you. It's okay. Sorry.